Hello children, welcome to our social e-learning classes. So today we are going to discuss Unit 2 in Civics. So in the last class we have discussed Unit 1 in Civics, that is Indian Constitution, right? So this is Unit 2, Central Government. So in this central government, today we are going to discuss about the powers of the President and Vice President, to know about the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, to understand the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and to know about Supreme Court. So this central government unit is of these 4 points. So what are the 4 main things which are lying behind this unit are, means the learning objects of this unit is to know the powers of the president and vice president. So we are going to learn about the powers of the president and vice president. Second thing, to know about the prime minister and the council of ministers. So we are going to study about the prime minister and the council of ministers. And third one, to understand the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. To understand the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And the last one is to learn about Supreme Court. It means we are going to know about the Supreme Court. So coming to the introduction part. The central government is the supreme government in our country. The central government is the supreme government in our country. It is the like superior government in our country which has the superior hand on us. Sorry guys. The headquarters of the central government is at New Delhi. Where is the headquarters of our central government? It is at New Delhi. So articles 52 to 78 in part 5. You know children what are articles, right? In the last unit Indian Constitution we have learned about what are the articles in the constitutions. So articles 52 to 78 in part 5 of Indian Constitution deals with the union executive. So in our Indian Constitution, in last unit we have learned about the drafted constitutions, right, for our Indian government. So in that part 5, articles like from 52 to 78, it deals that articles are purely about the union executives. And the makers of the Indian Constitution, by giving due recognition to the vastness and plural character of our nation, have provided a federal arrangement for her governance. So federal means children, it is like united, okay, combined. Federal means combined. So the people who drafted, who had prepared this Indian Constitution. Constitution means I have already taught you the basic principles, basic laws of government or basic rules of government. Constitution means, okay. So these makers who made the Indian Constitution, they gave the recognition to the vastness and plural character of nation. They gave importance for all the characters of our Indian nation, and also they have provided a federal arrangement. It means they have provided a union arrangement, united combined arrangement of her governors. And the central government consists of 3 organs, namely union executive, legislature and judiciary. How many organs are there? The central government consists of 3 organs. They are union executive, legislature and judiciary. Children, what is mean by union executive? Union executive means like it is a chief, head, union head, the leader of that union, okay. And second thing is legislature. You know what is a legislature? We have already taught, learned in that lesson, last lesson, like a group of making laws, a branch of government, okay. Like people who are a branch of people related to the government who makes the laws, they come under these legislatures. And judiciary means we all know that judges comes under judiciary. The Union Executive consists of the President of India, the Vice President and the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister and the Attorney General of India. Attorney General of India. Now listen children. So this Union Executive consists of who are the people working under this Union Executive? This Union Executive is having President of India, Vice President and the Council of Ministers, and these people were headed by whom? The Prime Minister and the Attorney General of India. Now, the legislature is known as the Parliament. Legislature is known as a group of people who are making laws. They are called legislature, right? They are known as Parliament. And it consists of two houses. This legislature consists of two houses, namely the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. The Union Judiciary consists of Supreme Court of India. So, the central government is having three organs. They are Union Executive, Legislature and Judiciary. Is it so? And in these three organs are subdivided. They have some categories. So they also consist, first the Union Executive consists of President of India, Vice President and Council of Ministers, and these three people will be headed by the Prime Minister and the Attorney of the General. The second one is Legislature. This legislature has another name and it is also called as Parliament, and this Parliament consists of two houses. This Parliament consists of two houses, one is Rajya Sabha and another one is Lok Sabha. And the last one, the Union Judiciary. Union Judiciary means it has a Supreme Court of India in its hands. Okay children. Now here this is the mind map of central government. Here you can see executive, legislature and judiciary. These are the three organs which we have discussed. Under executive who are there? President of India, Vice President, Prime Minister, Council of Ministers. So under legislature who are there? Parliament. Parliament subdivided, it has two houses, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. So Rajya Sabha is 230, Rajya Sabha consists of two parts. One is 238 people elected by the state assemblies and 12 nominated by the president. Whereas when we come to the Lok Sabha, it is also consists of two things. That is, one is like 543 elected by the people and another one is 2 nominated by the president. So coming to the last organ, judiciary, the first heading theme is Supreme Court of India under the Chief Justice of India and other judges 27. So this is a small mind map to understand easy level of understanding of three organs of the central government. Okay. Now let us come to the first thing. 2.1, because 2.1 means it is unit 2. In that unit 2, the first topic is the President of India. So the first President of India, who is the first President of India? You can see the picture here. He is Dr. Rajendra Prasad. He is the first President of our India. Okay. The President is the nominal executive authority. The President is the nominal executive authority. He is the nominal executive. Nominal executive means what, children? He is the official. Okay. He is the official executive authority of our country, of a nation. The chief executive of the Indian Union is the President. So, he is a nominal. Nominal means what? Official executive authority, and also he is the chief. He is the head of the Indian Union is the president. So the chief executive of the Indian Union is who? The president. And he is designated as the first citizen of India. So he will be seated as, honored as the first citizen of India. And he is the supreme commander of the armed forces. Armed forces means weaponed army forces, right? So he will be the head commander of the armed forces, and the president is also the constitutional head of the executive, union executive. So according to Article 53 of the Constitution, The executive power of the union shall be vested in the president, which shall be exercised by him directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with constitution. So children, according to our Indian constitution book, in that according to the article 53, this president's executive power of union shall be vested. Vested means we are protected in the president, protected by the president, and which shall be exercised by him directly or through official officers subordinate to him. It means these executive powers of union, it will be protected by the president, and also he is the one who will be getting them into implemented state. He will make them get them into implementation, by like directly by him, or he can take the help through officers who will help by, who is about officially who assists him, like in accordance with the constitution. According to that Indian constitution, the people who are designated to help our president, so this this fellow, the executive power, he can use these powers directly or with the help of those subordinates who are assigned to help him according to the constitution. Not all the people will enter to do his tasks. Okay. Now qualification for the election as president. Now these are the points which comes under the qualification for the election of a president. To elect a president, to select a president, these are the main points, these are the main qualifications to be needed, right? He should be a citizen of India. So officially he should be a citizen of India. He must have completed the age of 35 years. He must not hold any office of profit under the union, state or local government. He should have the other qualifications required to become a member of the Lok Sabha, and his or her name should be proposed by at least 10 electors and seconded by another 10 electors of the electoral college which elects a president. Now children, the qualification, when it comes to the qualification of selecting the president, electing the president, what are the qualifications he needs to be to stand as a president is, first one is the president, a person who is becoming a president, who is going to become a president, he should be a citizen of India, and then he should have, he must have completed 35 years, not below 35 years, okay, and he must not have any office of income under the union, state or local government. Okay, next he should have other qualifications like he needs to become a member of Lok Sabha. If he needs to become a member of Lok Sabha, he also needs some other qualifications, right? Not all the people can simply become the president of India. And his or her, the president may be his or her, right? So his or her name should be supported at least 10 electors. So his name can be supported some at least 10 people, 10 electors, and seconded by the another 10 electors of the electoral college. So children, here what is meant by electoral college? Electoral college means a group of people whose job is to select political leaders. So a group of people will be, according to our constitution, a group of people will be assigned, and their job is to select the political leaders. So if a person, whoever wants to become a president, at least 10 electors and 10 electors of electoral college should support this person to become a president. So these are the basic qualifications to become a prime minister, children. Now the president cannot be a member of a parliament or of a state legislature. If he is a member of any legislature, his seat will be deemed to have been vacated on the date he or she assumes the office of president. So this president, the person who is going to become a president, who is willing to become a president, he cannot be the member of parliament or a state legislature. If he is already a member in the state legislature or something, he cannot maintain both. So once he is selecting his way to become a president, he will be automatically, he will not be there in his seat, right? If he is assuming to become a president. So his seat in that legislature will be vacated. So this is about the qualifications to become a president. Now coming to the election of the president. The president is elected by an electoral college in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. Children, here I said already, right? Electoral college means it is a group of people who are whose job is only to elect the political leaders, and also this single transferable vote, STV, it means it is a kind of voting system. Okay, so the president is elected by an electoral college, that group of people, and also with the system which is representing that election system will be like single transferable vote, STV. Okay. Now the electoral college consists of the elected members of both houses of parliament and the elected members of the state and elected members of the National Capital Territory of Delhi and Puducherry. Now this electoral college, I said a group of people will be, is called electoral college. That group of people will have a job of only selecting the political leaders. So where will these people belong to? So these electoral college people are, they belong to like for the both houses of the parliament. What are the both houses of parliament? Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. So these people will be like elected members. These electoral college people, they are also the elected members of the states and the elected members of National Capital Territory of Delhi and also Puducherry. Okay. Now once elected as the president, he has to take an oath to office before the Chief Justice of India. The president is elected for a term of 5 years and can be re-elected. So here children, once a president is being elected by these people, he has to take an oath promising, he has to take an oath of office in front of whom, before the Chief Justice of India only he has to take the oath. And this president, his term is, his job is, his work, once he is elected, his job, his service will be for 5 years. The president's service will be of 5 years, and again if he needs to continue, if he wants to continue his service, he has to be re-elected again he has to be elected with these people. If he is eligible, he can get re-elected and become a president. If he is not eligible to become a president, some other people who are eligible to sit in that throne will be elected as a president. So this is the process of election of the president. Okay. Now the next one is powers of the president. So what are the powers of the president? So individually let us know about what are the powers of the president. First one is executive powers. Executive powers. Article 77 requires that every executive action of the union shall be taken in the name of the president. So Article 77, according to the Indian Constitution, Article 77 needs that every leader's executive's action, every head's action of the union shall also, it will also be taken under the name of the president. So each and every action will be under his name, whatever the action he is taking, right? So he appoints the prime minister and the other members of the council of ministers, distributing portfolios to them on the advice of the prime minister. So as every action comes under the name of the president, here the president appoints the Prime Minister and also some members, some other ministers like Council of Ministers, and he distributes the portfolios. What are the portfolios, children? Portfolios means the collection of financial investments which are relating to the cash. Okay. So portfolios means collection of financial investments. So this president will appoint the Prime Minister and also some other Council of Ministers and distributes these financial investment details to them on the advice of the Prime Minister. This Prime Minister, President appoints Prime Minister, and this Prime Minister also, he only distributes these portfolios to the Council of Ministers. Now, he is responsible for making a wide variety of appointments. These include the appointment of governors of state, the Chief Justice and other justices of the Supreme Court and High Court, the Attorney General, the Comptroller and Auditor General, the Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners and other election commissioners. Now let us see, children, here. The chairman, the other members of the Union Public Service Commission, ambassadors and high commissioners to other service. Now let us see here, children. This Prime Minister, when he appoints other ministers and distribute the portfolios to them, and these also include the appointment of, and this work process will also include the appointment of governors of states. Governors of states. So what happened is, this way process will also include the appointment of governors of states and also the Chief Justice, not only. So I'll just list out the names, children, what are the appointment process under this are. Okay, first one is governors of states and the second one is Chief Justice and other judges. Chief Justice also will be appointed and other judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts will also be appointed. The Attorney General. The Attorney General. Attorney General means, children, listen carefully. Attorney General means a legal advisor. A legal advisor who will be thorough with the Indian Constitution and also with the rules and regulations, basic principles of our nation will be the Attorney General. And the Comptroller. Comptroller means like a supervisor who supervises all the works that has been allotted, assigned to him. So Comptroller means supervisor. Okay, whenever I am giving another name, another synonym for this Attorney General, Comptroller, just underline that and write the meaning, so that whenever you are reading this paragraph, it will be very easy for you to understand. Okay, Attorney General means legal advisor, Comptroller means supervisor, and Auditor General. So the Chief Election Commissioner, Auditor General, the Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners. The chairman and other members of Union Public Service, and commission ambassadors. Here, children, commission ambassadors underline. Commission ambassadors means those are the people who represents the state, who represents the nation. The ambassador who is allotted for a state or for a nation or for a city or whatever, that person's work is only to speak for that nation, for that particular, for which area or part he is allotted as an ambassador. He will speak only for that. He will speak on behalf of that. He will advertise, he will brand it. Okay. They are called as commission ambassadors and high commissioners to other countries. So these are the points which lay under the executive powers. Next, legislative powers. So legislative powers. He inaugurates the session of the parliament by addressing it after the general election and also at the beginning of the first session each year. This address is essentially identical in nature to a speech from the throne. The president summons parliament at least twice in a year. So here, children, under the legislative powers, he inaugurates, he starts the session meeting of a parliament like by mentioning it after the general election. After the general election, he starts the session, a meeting like thing of the parliament. And also at the beginning of the first session each and every year, the first session will be conducted. In that first session, at every beginning of the first session of every year, this address is essentially identical. This uh, this expression, the way he expresses the what thing, the matter he expresses is basically very useful and essentially identical in nature to a speech from the throne. He has to speak, deliver a speech from his throne. What is a throne? An official seat, official place of his is called throne. So the president summons parliament at least twice in a year. So he arranges a meeting, he arranges a session, he arranges a parliament at least 2 times in a year. Okay. Now coming to the next paragraph, he may send messages to either house of the parliament with respect to a bill pending in the house. All bills passed by the parliament become laws of acts only after getting assent of the president. Money bills cannot be introduced in the parliament without his approval. President terminates the sessions of both or any of the houses of parliament. He can even dissolve the Lok Sabha before the expiry of the term of the houses. Now when it comes to the money related issues and bill related issues, children here listen. He may send messages to either house of the parliament with respect to bill pending. So he may send some messages to the house of the parliament when it comes regarding any bills pending in the house. If there are any pending or if they are in need of any money related issues, bills, he can send the messages to the house of the parliament who are president. Okay. Now next, all the bills passed by the parliament become the laws of act. So whatever the bills are delivered by the parliament, so that will become the law of acts. But when it will become the law of acts? Only when that is getting signed by the president. When the president allows only, all the bills will be passed and those bills will become the laws of acts. And these bills cannot be introduced in the parliament without his approval. So before inaugurating, before introducing or before delivering something bills in the parliament without president's permission, without his approval, without his signature, no money bills can be introduced in the parliament. President terminates the session of both or any of the houses. He can just, if his approval is not there, he has right to dissolve the Lok Sabha. He can dissolve the Lok Sabha before the expiry of the term of the house. So before the expiry, even though there is an expiry of 5 years, if the work is done without his approval, he has the power to dissolve the Lok Sabha totally. And he has that power. That is why we are calling legislative powers of the president, right? Yeah. And the last paragraph is, he nominates 12 persons who are eminent in literature, science, sports, arts and social service to the Rajya Sabha. He can also nominate 2 persons belonging to Anglo-Indian community to the Lok Sabha if in his opinion that community is inadequately represented in the house. Okay. So what happens is, this president, he also elects, he also nominates, appoints 12 persons. He just supports 12 people who are well trained in literature, science, sports, art and social service to the Rajya Sabha people. Okay, he also supports the 12 persons who are related, who is well enough, good enough in the literature, science, sports, art and social service to the Rajya Sabha group, right? And he can also support 2 more persons belonging to the Anglo-Indian community. What is meant by Anglo-Indian? Anglo-Indian means people who are mixing of Indian and British. Indian and British, people who are related to the mixture of Indian and British community, they are called as Anglo-Indian community, and this president will nominate 2 persons belonging to Anglo-Indian community to the Lok Sabha. So, he supports 12 persons for the Rajya Sabha and 2 persons of Anglo-Indian community from the Anglo-Indian community to the Lok Sabha. And if in his opinion that community is not sufficient, if he feels that it is not enough, or if he feels that it is very insufficient, and if he needs more people, he can select these people. So, already the people will be elected and selected for their jobs, and they will be assigned their duties according to the constitution. But if the president feels that if he need more people in terms of all these literature, science, sports, social service, and also this Anglo-Indian community, if he needs that, he can also nominate 12 plus 2, nearly 14 people for this. So, all these things according to the bill passing powers, nominating the persons, and also arranging the sessions, meetings every year in the parliament will comes under the legislative powers. Okay. Now, coming to the financial powers. Financial power. Financial means annual budget of the central government is presented before the Lok Sabha by the Union Finance Minister only with the permission of the President. So, here what happened is annual budget, every year's budget will be there, right? Before itself they will be planning an annual budget. So, that annual budget of the central government is, they just present this annual budget before the Lok Sabha, and that is presented by whom? Union Finance Minister. He only presents the annual budgets before the Lok Sabha, but that also when he is submitting that annual budget, he needs the permission of the President. Even though he is submitting to the Lok Sabha, with President permission only, this Union Finance Minister has to submit the annual budget to the Lok Sabha people. Okay. Now here he causes to be laid before the Parliament the annual financial statement. The Constitution of India places the contingency fund of India is at the disposal of the President. So this Constitution of India, this Indian Constitution places what? Contingency fund of India, and this contingency fund of India is at the what? Disposal of the President. No demand for a grant can be made except on his recommendation. He can make advances out of the contingency fund of India to meet any unexpected expenditure. He constitutes a financial commission after every 5 years. So what happened is, this president, he can make any advice, he can take any steps whatever needed. If he feels that if any action to be taken, any action needed for the constitution fund of, out of the contingency fund of India, the above, more than that annual budget, if there a situation comes to take out the budget more than that what they have given, this president will have a right to take any action, and also he can accept and he can grant when it comes like unexpected expenses to the nation. And also he can constitute a financial commissioner. He can also support or terminate or suggest this financial commission for every 5 years. He will just revise this financial commission for every 5 years. Okay, these are the things regarding the financial powers. Next, coming to the judicial powers. Article 72 confers on the President power to grant pardons, reprieves, respites, and remissions of punishment, or to commute the sentence of any person convicted of an offence. So, the next one is military powers. Article 53 lays down the supreme command of the defense force of the Union shall be vested in the President, and the exercise thereof shall be regulated by law. So here when it comes to the military power, Article 53, according to the Constitution, Article 53 in part 2, it lays down, it says about purely about the supreme command of the defense force. Defense force means what? A department which is just assigned to protect our nation, like military. Okay. So this Article 53 is about military powers, the supreme command of the defense force of the Union, and it shall be vested in the president, and the exercise thereof shall be regulated. These also will be these laws, principal laws will also be regulated by the law. Okay. Now diplomatic powers. Diplomatic powers. So here diplomatic means like people who are working like an ambassadors, okay, who represents it. So when we come to the diplomatic powers, the president appoints Indian diplomats to other countries and receive foreign diplomats posted to India. So here the president appoints whom? Our Indian ambassadors, Indian depart, some people who belongs, who acts as an ambassador to the other countries, and also he receives some foreign diplomats who posted to India. Okay. The ambassador designated becomes ambassador after calling on the president and presenting his credentials. So this ambassador who is appointed in his job as an ambassador, he becomes an ambassador, and after call, when only after the permission or approval of the president, and he presents his credentials here. All treaties and agreements with foreign state are all entered into in the name of the president. Now emergency powers. The president has been powered by the constitution to proclaim national emergency under Article 352, state emergency under Article 356, financial emergency under Article 360. So when we talk about the like emergency powers in the Indian constitution, here the president has been started, like he has been empowered by this constitution, like to start, proclaim means it is to start what? National emergency under. National emergency under what articles? Article 352, and state emergency is under Article 356, and financial emergency is under Article 360. It means in Article 352 it is given about national emergency. So in Article 356 it is stated about the details of state emergency. So under Article 360 it is stated that regarding financial emergency. So these are the emergency powers. Now removal of the president. So here is the main thing, removal of the president. How? The president may be writing, the president may, by writing under his hand addressed to the vice president, resign his office. The president may, for violation of the constitution, be removed from office by impeachment in the manner provided in Article 61. The impeachment action can be brought about in the form of resolution in either house of the parliament. It must be supported by not less than 1/4 of the total strength of the house for its introduction. The president shall, in spite of the conclusion in his term, continue to hold office until his successor enters upon his office. It means removal of president. How and when the president can get down from his seat? How can he be fired off from his seat, or how can one can remove president from his position, or how can he come out of this decision? So once it is decided that the president must not be in his position as a president, what he has to do is he has to write a resignation letter. He has to write, he himself has to resign, and he has to submit it to the vice president. First method is that one. Second one is the president will be removed from his position if he is if he is behaving, he's acting against the constitution, okay, then he will be removed by the impeachment. Here impeachment means, children, like a charge of misconduct made against the holder. It means people, the government officials who are not following the basic laws and rules from the constitution, they will be called as impeachment, okay. So under the impeachment statement, this president will be removed according to the article 61. Now the impeachment action can be brought about in the form of a resolution in the entire house, okay. It must be supported by not less than one fourth of the total strength, at least one fourth of the total. From when we come take just one fourth from the total strength, they have to support, then only this impeachment will also be implemented. And the president shall, in spite of the conclusion of his term, continue to hold office until his successor. So once he is decided that he has to be thrown out of his place, or once it is decided that president should not sit in his place again, but for some days he has to stay there until his substitute, somebody will be acting as a substitute till that. So unless until the substitute comes and takes his work, this president who is decided to be removed from the parliament has to stay in that place and wait for that, okay. Now coming to the 2.2, that is regarding vice president. So the vice president occupies the second highest office in the country. He is accorded a rank next to the president in the official warrant of precedence, and this office is modeled on the lines of the American vice president. Article 63 of the Constitution provides for a vice president of India. This office has been created to maintain the political continuity of the state. So our first vice president in India is who? Dr. Radhakrishna. Our first vice president of India is Dr. Radhakrishna. Who is our first president of India? Dr. Rajendra Prasad. So when coming into the details of the vice president, children, this vice president will stand as the second highest office in the country. The first highest office, who is the first citizen? That is the president. And the second highest office is who? It is a vice president. So he will be given a rank next to the president. Once the president is, if he is not available, or if he is not in a place to decide, or if he needs any help, or in place of president also, some works can be delivered and done by the vice president. So he will be ranking second next to the president in the official war of presidents. Presidents means priority. While giving the priority to the, according to the rank wise, first rank will be for first place, first rank is for president, and the second priority will be given to the vice president. And this office, he will be modeled on the lines of American vice president. So now children, according to the article 63 of the constitution, according to our constitution, in article 63, there was given some principles for vice presidents also, and that is created to maintain the political continuity of the state. So it should not be stopped or given a pause between the president and the other officials. So to give a to act as a barrier between the president and the third person, this vice president will act as a barrier, okay. Dr. Radhakrishnan is the first vice president of India. So now what are the qualifications for the election as vice president? So in the last session we have discussed about what are the qualifications to become a president. Now these are the qualifications to become a vice president. Now look carefully, children. He should be a citizen of India, as we have read for the president. Here also for the vice president, the same point. He should be the citizen of India. he must have completed the age of 35 years. The same thing, president and vice president should complete 35 years. They must not hold any office or profit under union, state or local government, and he should have the other qualifications required to become a member of Rajya Sabha. Children, the same qualities, if you notice, all the points are same for both president and vice president, but here this president must not have any profit under the Lok Sabha. He should have other qualifications required to become a member. It means he should be related to the Lok Sabha, whereas the vice president will be related to the Rajya Sabha. Okay. Now, after finishing the qualification to how, what are the eligibility to become a vice president, now let us talk about the election and term of the vice president. Election and term of the vice president. Okay. Article 66, the vice president, like the president, is elected not directly by the people by the method of indirect election. The term office of the vice president is 5 years. His office may terminate earlier than the fixed term either by resignation, death or by removal. He is eligible for re-election. Till then, deputy chairman of the Rajya Sabha can perform the duties of the chairman of Rajya Sabha. So now listen carefully, children. What are the terms and elections process of the vice president? Here, according to the Constitution, Article 66 in Part 1, the vice president, the so-called vice president, he will be acting like a president, and this vice president will not be elected directly by the people. Here chief ministers we are for our elections we are voting for chief ministers, right? The people will be selecting, but there the vice president will not be directly selected by the people, but they will be elected in the indirect election, the method of indirect election. So this vice president's position post is also of 5 years, the same way as chief minister or president, whatever. So his time period is also for 5 years. When he will come out of this, his job is either he must resign if there is any misconduct has been done, or if he is if he meets a death, or if he is removed by the parliament members by finding some any illegal things, or which is not standing like against the constitution. So these are the only the three things: resignation, death or removal. Only the three things will make the vice president to get away from his job. Okay. And this vice president is also eligible for the re-election. President is also eligible for the re-election. Till that, what happened is, this deputy chairman of the Rajya Sabha, he can implement the duties, he can perform all the duties and responsibilities of the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Okay. Yes. Next, coming to the removal of the vice president. Removal. The vice president may be removed from his office by a resolution of the Council of States passed by a majority of all the then members of the council. Okay, and agreed to by the House of the people. Agreed to by the House of the people. Then a resolution for this purpose may be removed only after a notice of at least a minimum of 14 years has been given of such an intention. So here, children, when and how the vice president can be removed. The vice president may be removed from his office by what? By a resolution of Council of States. Like how much the majority has been passed from all the members of the council, and how many peoples are agreeing to this to remove the vice president. The people of the house, how many, the majority of the people of the house and the majority of the members of the council, they will see the majority who are agreeing and accepting or willing to remove the vice president. It depends purely on the people of the house and the council, right? and the resolution for this purpose may be removed only after a notice of at least a minimum of 14 days. Like this, it means he will not be removed then and there, ma. So this vice president will be removed from his post. So they will give the timing, a notice period of minimum 14 days. So within 14 days, he has to hand over all the things which is related to that office, and then he has to resign and go. What are the functions of vice president here? Now let us discuss about what are the functions of the vice president. So the vice president is ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. No, sir. What are the functions of the vice president? He regulates the proceedings of the house. This vice president will he regulates whatever the orders and acts were started or announced. This vice president will start to regulate, start to implement of the house. Okay, the presidents of the house. Now he decides the order of the house. So he has the power to decide the order of the house, and he decides the admissibility of a resolution or questions. He suspends or adjourns. Adjourns means children, he withdraws. He can suspend or he can withdraw the house in case of a grave disorder. If he is arranging any meeting or if he is arranging something regarding to the house, if there is any problem or if it is not in a if he feels that it is not proper and unsatisfied, he has the power to suspend it or withdraw the house. Okay. And when the president is unable to discharge his duties due to illness or absence from the country, he attends to the functions of the president for a maximum period of 6 months. So, whenever the president is going out of station, he is not in the country, he went to foreign countries, or the president is not feeling well or something from his problems from his house side, if he is not able to attend at that time, vice president will take the charge and he will stand in the place of president and do all the formalities, works and what to do. And that will be for 6 months. So for 6 months, if the president is not available, this vice president can take up the charge and do the works. Okay.